Hi, I'm Bill Newcott, film critic for the Saturday Evening Post, and welcome to Toronto. We're here for one of the world's most prestigious movie events, the Toronto International Film Festival. I'm here for 10 days of movies, many of them coming to theaters soon. This week I'll sit down with the director of Robert Redford's new movie, a film Redford says is his last. And I'll review a new film about a beloved comedian who got her start right here in Toronto, Gilda Radner. Plus Mel Brooks talks about his old pal Sid Caesar, who's the subject of a fantastic new DVD box set. All that and more in this week's podcast, Movies for the Rest of Us, from Toronto.
For 10 days each year, downtown Toronto becomes the center of the film world, as tens of thousands of movie lovers try to squeeze in as many premieres as they can. More than 400 films are screened each year, and the biggest stars in Hollywood come out to add their special brand of glitz and glamour. One of the most anticipated films in Toronto this year is The Old Man and the Gun.
Let's take this place. Say it was a bank, and instead of that counter up there, that was really a teller's window, and you just walk in, real calm. So you walk right up, look her in the eye, and you say, "Ma'am, this is a robbery." And you show her the gun like this, and you say, "I wouldn't want you to get hurt, because I like you. I like you a lot. So don't go breaking my heart now, okay?"
It's a delightful film based on the true story of an elderly bank robber named Forrest Tucker. And no, he's no relation to the guy who played Sergeant O'Rourke on F Troop. Robert Redford plays the old man of the title, and he's irresistible, bringing all his charms to the role of the smiling gentleman bank robber. Redford also says this is his last screen acting job. I sat down with director David Lowery, who previously directed Redford in Pete's Dragon, and asked him about the pressure of directing an icon in his final role. Here, you're directing a guy whose Oscar is for directing.
Yeah.
When you're on the set, is that reassuring or intimidating?
It was intimidating when we made Pete's Dragon together, and luckily I was able to make that movie first with him, where he was there for, just part of it, and I got to understand what it's like to direct an Oscar winner. And so once we got to this project, the intimidation factor was gone, and it was just smooth sailing. But definitely the first day of directing him back in New Zealand, way back in 2015, was very daunting.
Yeah. Did you know this was going to be his last movie?
No, I mean that came. Well, he mentioned that it's in some interview a few months before he started shooting. I think it was like November of 2016. And for a second, I just felt this crushing pressure, and then I realized I just gotta get that off my mind. I can't think about that. That can't weigh into any of the decisions we make creatively on set. Right. And so. So I didn't think about it, but then now the movie's done. We shot it over a year ago at this point, and he's talking about it again in a much more serious fashion, and so it's impossible now for me to think about the movie without that context being there. And that's I feel very honored that if this is his last film, that he is happy enough with it to go out on this note.
Hey, excuse me. Need some help?
No, I'm good.
Let me take a look.
You know anything about cars?
No, not really.
This is Toronto's Second City Comedy Club. It's been launching careers since 1973. And a movie opening this week celebrates the career of one of the most beloved performers ever to come out of Second City in Toronto, Gilda Radner. She's honored this week with a new film, a documentary. It's hilarious and heartbreaking, called appropriately, Love Gilda.
Hi, I'm Gilda Radner. And, okay, now.
Director Lisa Doppolito has enlisted many of Gilda's former Saturday Night Live co-stars to talk about their days with Gilda, but most importantly, she relies on Gilda's own home movies, as well as 38 hours of audio recordings Gilda made while working on her autobiography.
There was a time when I thought that all I wanted to do was work, and now I know that what I really want to do is live. I'm growing up, there's no doubt about it, I'll tell you, and I don't mind. When I look in the mirror, I see lines around my eyes. I see a woman more, a young woman, mind you, but a woman, and less a child.
The result is an often hilarious, sometimes painfully intimate portrait of one of the funniest women who ever lived.
This is your story, Al Duncy. Al seems to be a little overwhelmed by Al. He's a little Al Duncy. Al.
The earliest generation of Second City performers idolized the man who revolutionized TV comedy, the great Sid Caesar. Even today, when you watch Saturday Night Live or any other sketch series, you're watching comedians building on the legacy left by Caesar on his classic 1950s TV shows. An exhaustive new DVD box set from Shout Factory called Sid Caesar The Works captures many of Caesar's most memorable skits, written by a staff that included Neil Simon, Woody Allen, Carl Reiner, and Mel Brooks. A few years ago, Mel told me how Caesar took the funniest material he could write and made it even funnier.
Sid Caesar was playing in the mountains, but I could see that this guy was naturally gifted, very funny, and he could do great impressions of people. He did an impression of a gumball machine. I said, let's do a review. So we were thinking about a review. I'd write material. And Sid said, okay. So Sid gave me $40 or $50 a week, and I was his writer. It was called The Show of Shows, and it was really live. If Sid's Fly was open, that was it. Sid Caesar was once dressed as a Roman gladiator. Incorrectly, it was the sketch to follow, but the dresser got the wrong running order, and he was shoved into the set. And what was it? It was a board meeting, a corporate board meeting. And they're all sitting there with striped suits and pencils and whatever. There he is. He's a Roman gladiator with a sword and a helmet, all in gold with sandals and everything. And he saved the day. He said, I didn't want to be late. Those damn costume parties, they keep you up all night. I mean, he was amazing. Like, you hope they'll meet the material when you're a writer, when you're a comedy writer. Mm-hmm. With Sid, he always lifted the material. And we thought we were talking about Neil Simon, Larry Gelbart, Woody Allen, Mel Brooks. I mean, there's no better writers, right. No better comedy writers ever lived. And yet Sid could just up it a notch with his performance. But there was a lot of hatred for me at the beginning because I was always selfish. I was always late. I was always arrogant. There was a lot of hubris. People would say, well, who do you think the best writer is, in an interview? And I'd say it's obviously me.
Well, that's our podcast. For more on the movies, go to SaturdayEveningPost.com/movies. And for all my reviews, interviews, and videos, come to my website, moviesfortherestofus.com. Also on my website, you can see the rest of my interview with David Lowery, the director of The Old Man and the Gun, and also more of my interview with the great Mel Brooks. For the Saturday Evening Post from the Toronto International Film Festival, I'm Bill Newcott.